And now the grand finale for our Sonic Anniversary celebration, the end of a Knuckles series, with Episode 6, What Happens in Reno Stays in Reno.
No kidding,
Now,
because most of the events in this will not be referenced in Sonic 3.
some very, 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 very slightly, but yeah. Otherwise, this is going for that two-parter aesthetic since the director is the same from the last episode, Carol Banker. However, the writer is different. Instead of Brian Schachter from the last one, now we have John Whittington. Now, the good thing, John Whittington was the writer of the first two episodes of the series, which I would argue were the best episodes overall so far. So
plus, he's been a writer of the films since I think 2. I know he did 3 at least.
And hey, this is the finale, so they really have no excuse to skimp out on Knuckles actually getting to do stuff for his damn series at this point.
You'll be able to see.
So here's hoping that at least this ends on a high note. You know the drill. Start pretty much at a Paramount Plus original title. And let the merriment begin in 3, 2, 1, click.
But that was the most important question. Will Wade manage to win the bowling trophy?
Hopefully with Knuckles' help, so he can actually be in his show.
Be still my beating heart.
It's literally the gag about and the proms tomorrow, except some executive thought it was a great idea to actually put it in a series. Again, this is my running theory that Jeff Fowler has been fighting tooth and nail since the first movie against Paramount executives in order to avoid having shit like this be the norm for the Sonic movies and instead actually be about the damn games. Alright then, here we go. So where we did left off.
Previously on Knuckles.
To see. I can't even make the joke and Knuckles because it's literally the series. I guess we can make it Wade and Knuckles.
Yeah.
No. Tio. Play Sonic Mania for Knuckles and Knuckles mode.
Of course.
Literally
Jesus.
shot on sight,
Jesus
which
Christ.
I guess to be fair, pragmatic villainy.
There's no one in there and you wasted bullets.
But that's the trick. With Knuckles' spike energy, the ammunition is limitless.
Oh no!
Oh no, the mascot!
Oh no!
Well, you set it up.
Oh, that's going to leave a mark.
I mean, the guy hopefully wasn't in the suit.
So yeah, there's been a bit of a payoff with the whole, speaking through the communication device from the previous episode. At least there is that.
Knuckles appearing in the show less than a minute in.
My
Alright,
God,
we're good.
Knuckles is actually doing something. I must be dreaming.
Now we get to have an action scene where Knuckles punches to Elton John.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we saved our budget for this, so let's make it count.
Oh, pretty much, Jova. You'll be able to see by the end of the episode that's where they saved most of the budget. Ha 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 ha. Hi.
People don't pay attention to me, and that worked in my favor.
Sure, sweetie. Keep thinking that. Don't you see, guys? Tom is still in the series. He did something.
Wow, the police and the FBI are so ass.
Okay.
What else
To be
is
fair,
new?
it seems to be common that the FBI butts heads with local law enforcement a lot.
Get your pride out of your ass.
Hi.
Come here often? This is finally my series, Wade.
Oh,
Had your time.
no. Two portals at the same time.
Wait, what are they connected to?
Each other.
Are they going into the mushroom planet
That-
with the other
that-
Doesn't seem to be a
other gun
background.
agent?
It's a black
And then-
hole.
You would think that would be their karmic punishment, but we don't see where they ended up. Probably in a case to keep it generic. Oh no, actually, it is connect like that.
It's a loop, basically.
A loop-de-loop.
This is why you close the portals when they're only halfway through it.
And
And now
they're
that
somewhere.
and they are probably dead now.
quantum
Yeah,
causality.
it's
To be
fine.
fair, they were trying to kill us, so
Oh right, the bowling trophy. How could we forget? I have to wonder: is Paramount, being having a contract with some sort of bowling, tournament event for the sake of publicizing it, and this is basically stealth marketing?
Not to my knowledge, but they did actually contract the
Also-
actual ESPN 8 to use their logo for this. So
I love that one that was still. Oh, there you go. Ouch!
oh,
Oh. Mm.
Stop complimenting the FBI.
No,
agent.
don't do that. Don't
stop,
put your
stop
thumb up.
doing that. Okay, well, I got a way you can defeat your father. Tell him how much of a shit dad he's been and shame him in front of everybody.
I didn't
I
expect
think that's
body horror
the
in my
idea.
Knuckles series.
Well, I mean, sure, if you think about it, this whole franchise started with body horror.
I mean, I guess.
Of course, he had a different top hat. Of course.
That outfit is so tacky. I hate it.
It's so British.
well, sure, you'd be surprised how many sports rely on tacky gimmick outfits.
I love how the most consistent thing, one of the most consistent thing for this series has been the little girl. She's been
Yeah.
there since episode 1.
Yes. Yeah, no, the Sonic series seems to have gotten a good bout of child actors between JoJo and this girl.
My god, we're literally doing the sport movie climax where the person has to show up at the last second, otherwise they are disqualified.
Oh, damn.
It's literally the ending shot of Space Jam.
Okay.
This was passé in the 90s.
Okay. if I know how these are going to go, Wade's going to lose in the end, but he learned that he didn't need to impress his father.
That's a bold
It's
strategy.
fine that he's second.
Let's see if it pays off.
I watched enough
Wade.
Disney, Nickelodeon, and whatever movies back in the day. I got this.
Wade, you're supposed to get in the ring. Get in the fucking robot, Wade. Why are you... I'm not sure this is really comparable to that, mate.
Okay.
Why do I feel like the way that was delivered, that was like an improv?
Okay, to be fair, considering these two are clearly probably just actual sport commentator that they allow to cameo, I wouldn't be surprised if their lines were not scripted and just gave a general direction.
Actually, no. According to the casting list, the commentators are played by Rob Hubel and Paul Scheer, who are actors and comedians. That said, ESPN 8, the Ocho, is an actual they are an actual news sports
There
network.
we go.
And also the comedian aspect you mentioned as well. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that really was just improvised.
I will say this: while I don't think that's specific.
You're getting Mike Wazowski. There you go.
I will say to you, while I don't think it was specifically a bowling team that funded this, I wouldn't be surprised if a good chunk of this was funded by ESPN.
Can we talk about how Wade is half British?
Yes, yes, we can.
Yeah.
Family drama will be wonderful for the sports network ratings.
Of course, my market share. It's like
People are nosy.
It's like Death Race.
But we're still going to film it.
I mean, I don't know if the affiliates are owned by Disney, but
Sure, buddy.
I don't think your ex-wife feels that way. Or your daughter.
or your son.
Can you not T-pose in front of me?
Okay.
Yay, she's on his side.
Mm-hmm.
Bollocks.
Time to see who will win the crowd in the end.
Oh, I know this one. You need to start the Marseillaise. It's like fucking Casablanca.
At least Wanda's on his side.
Yeah, no, like, I do agree with you that Wanda gets better. I think the only issue is, like, she was kind of at the bottom at the start. No, sorry,
Not to
below
mention,
the bottom at the
She
start.
technically has not interacted yet with her father. She's the only one family
Does she
member.
want to?
I will say, there could be a legit reasoning that her father leaving might be part of why she is the way she is, because it would be an explanation. Good lord.
Jesus Christ. I know, right?
Damn!
Yeah.
Okay. This girl feels like she came straight out of the Goonies with a mouth like that. I love her.
But you have a white fan right there.
How
He be
It's,
ballin'.
it's empty. It was empty, child.
It looks cool. Shut up.
The way they start this is like, wait, is there only do they only bowl once?
Probably not, because we're only halfway through this.
All right,
Barely.
Knuckles. Here you go. Like,
What in the Sonic OC is that?
it's Larry the Caterpillar, don't you know? Fabulous character created by Ken Penders.
Legally distinct enough so that we don't get sued.
Could never be Colin the Caterpillar.
You know, considering everything for this series, I really then hope that Sonic Team pulls a bowling minigame in the next Sonic game.
I'm trying to remember. I feel like there has been a bowling minigame
Mostly
at
just
some point in
pinball.
Sonic. I feel like there has been a bowling one, but don't quote me on that.
Like, if fucking Tekken can have a bowling minigame.
Yeah. Yes. There actually was a Sonic bowling game in 2002.
It's not one of those crappy.
Showdown.
Yes, it was a. Yes, it was a mobile phone game.
I was gonna say those crappy Tiger-esque like games.
Well, it's kind of on the
Thankfully
same
not.
wavelength.
Again, I give Wanda this. She does what some thought would be an impossible job.
What bread is Knuckles eating?
I think he's eating basically a whole God. Okay, usually it's like a bread roll, but those are a ton of bread rolls all stuck together.
But what's
All
going
right.
on here?
It's time for
Oh.
it's time for Knuckles to actually have his subplot finally being released with
Doc Ock?
the buyer having his own egg robot knockoff. Finally, something more resembling the games. Hey, that's the title of the series.
Tio, not for nothing, but I don't remember the weird Doc Ock mech creature thing in the games.
Okay. First of all, it kind of reminds me of one of the final bosses of Sonic Mania. To be fair, and second, at the very least, it feels something that Egg Robotnik would build as one of his egg, robots to fight Sonic.
We were getting quite a few of those in the Sonic 2 movie as well, but also to follow up on Teos's point, Eggman did have also that robot with multiple arms in Sonic Advance 2. Also, when you get down to it, that looks like a better use of the Rhino suit from Amazing Spider-Man 2 than the actual Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Ooh, slow-mo. Curses.
And just blow on it.
From all the way across there, good luck.
Poppycock.
Yep, got the spare.
Well, aside from that one other time you flapped.
Okay, given that ESPN 8 focuses on the more obscure sports, that's probably why they can get away with this on television.
Are you a bad enough dude to win against your father in a bowling tournament?
Don't want them getting to your head. A little? Wow, you have amazing
Wait,
patience.
no, that's the terrible lesson. Okay, my sister bullied the shit out of me since I was a kid and had barely any resentment. That means she taught me about this shit. God.
My sister stabbed me, but we're cool now because the
Yeah,
series
she
is
didn't
almost
stab him with a
over.
fork.
Um,
You
and
abandoned the whole family. You're a loser.
I'm not sure what your point is supposed to be.
It's basically
My
him
point
trying
is
to
that
get
you're a
into his
loser.
head.
I mean, by that logic, you're British. You're a nation made of losers. Like, slow mo. Of course, it's
Oh
also the
The
no!
same
one
pin.
pin.
It's symbolism.
This is totally making me actually forgetting about that this is supposed to be a Knuckles series.
Hey, Knuckles,
Oh,
punch the floor.
That would have been hilarious.
he did it! He got the strike! The series has reached its proper conclusion!
So I was half right.
Oh,
There he is.
Knuckles, yeah, you're studying my screen time.
Wow, the stunt work on this cheap budget spin-off ESPN show are quite something.
Yeah. You'll do something, I'm sure.
I mean, I am a police officer.
I will say this
Okay,
at the very
to
least.
his
I can
credit,
say this now. At the very least, the show did not actually had the whole thing about it's Knuckles who wins the bowling in the bowling tournament. They actually had Wade actually win on his own, which, to be fair, I appreciate to an extent.
I'll admit I was kind of expecting something that's going to happen like Knuckles would be in trouble and then Wade would have to abandon the bowling tournament right before he could win to prove, oh, he won the true victory. Oh crap, they said the D word in a kids media show.
Also,
You know we're serious.
looking better, he kind of does have the whiplash, whips.
You know, to Wade's credit, he did nearly shoot Robotnik in the first movie with a legit piece, so, like, if he had his gun on him, he might do the same here.
It's always the lingering question that always has to end when it comes to stupid comic relief characters. How did they still get there? They needed to some level of competence to arrive where they got.
Yeah, this is why I do give credit to Wade in the series. Yeah, he's the comedic side relief, but he's never felt to the point where he's outright dumb where I have to question, wait, how'd this guy get his job? I can at least buy it. Never mind the fact that also Montana clearly didn't have the biggest police force.
See, guys, it's reincorporated. That justifies the whole pooling thing. Ah, yes, all the good moments we spent together.
As the music swells.
This was totally about Knuckles, guys, of course.
It's about family.
It's about family. It's amazing how I'm feeling nothing from this speech.
I mean, if anything, I'm more laughing at how corny it is.
It's pretty clear, but
yeah.
the show still wants to take this particular moment very seriously and heartfelt.
Yes. But it is still corny.
Uh-oh. You're out of balls, Wade. God damn it.
Hey, Tito, you didn't tell me you were a writer on the series. It's been a bit since
I watched the series, I forgot about the line.
Wait, your home's in Reno? Oh, Knuckles, you poor thing.
So yeah, Knuckles gets back his energy.
So he can finally do something!
Specifically,
here
the
it comes.
Disasters. There it is.
Wait for it. He said the line! He said the line!
God.
Can we go home now?
I was wondering when that was gonna happen.
I swear, it's a combination of the way he says it and just the scenario, but that line has been so heavily memed.
I thought it was gonna be the episode titled that, not here.
I'm sure he's fine.
Yeah, Knuckles just killed someone, and Wade has been complicit for it.
I mean, they killed Eggman
he
twice.
tried.
Shadow, what the fuck have you done?
50 years ago. How interesting.
I can believe that Maria took shadow bowling.
Well, Shadow's a little bit red.
There you go, Shiri. You were still kinda close with Pistol Pete still wanting to get the trophy for himself. Again, we've seen this kind of shit in some stuff like Cars.
Honestly, deserved.
Joining the FBI means you get to have all the brutality you can want. You
also,
see what I mean about, the bad messaging of this series?
Also, I don't know if it's, of course, freeze
frame.
There's an 80s-esque freeze frame.
Wait.
There is a post-credit scene.
Yeah,
there is an after-credit scene, so don't tune off just yet.
That said, holy cow, that was abrupt.
It's like we're out of budget, sorry. Maybe you're gonna get another puppet scene. We need to have a narrating in the background. There we go.
It's the theme song for the show.
Which is why, by the time of the next movie, Knuckles, your characterization is reverted to how it was at the end of the second movie. Nothing has been accomplished. Hooray!
Okay. To the show's credit, I wouldn't say it's so much Knuckles reverted in character as much as... I mean, he does show some changes, but it's more so with how he's chillaxed with being on Earth. Like, I'll be fair, it's not like the series really changed too much about Knuckles' character, because it didn't focus on Knuckles much.
So yeah, that is still the end of the Knuckles series. I
All
hope
right.
hope you enjoyed the paying for Paramount Plus to actually see this.
All right. Final thoughts.
Lives.
Dwebs, would you like to go first?
Oh, okay, I will say I did enjoy it more than I thought I would. There was the odd joke that just didn't land, and the start of Wade's sister wasn't well. I mean, she didn't get any worse, at least, but she started at pretty rock bottom anyway. But for the most part, I actually did enjoy this series to an extent. The action when we got it was solid. There were some funny moments, and Wade's grown on me. So yeah, overall, I can't say this series was a bust. I thought it was okay. I don't think it's as good as the movies, but it's yeah, I've seen far worse in both Sonic terms and general comedy series terms. That's it from me.
Hero.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely wasn't as bad as people made it out to be. It's not great. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good either. It was just very middle of the road. Knuckles, the only time I actually had an issue with Knuckles not really being in the show was the previous episode. Otherwise, this was just whatever. Like, Wanda improved, that's nice, but like, none of the characters really have all that much to them. I mean, yeah, not much to say. The opening animations are nice, and that's pretty much like the most compliment I have for it.
I guess I will.
Yeah.
I guess I will go next. I'm sorry. This is at the best. This was still basically a waste of my time. If anything, it kind of makes me appreciate a bit more at the very least the first two movies. I still stand what I said in the Mario 2023 commentary that they're still not particularly elevating that much the bar for video game adaptations, but you can kind of tell that Jeff Fowler, at the very least, is trying, fighting tooth and nail to actually squeeze the most that he can out of Paramount's, executives about in what he can get away in acting from the games. While instead, this series is basically a prime example of showcasing what will happen if there was no one to fight about for these things. It's the title character is basically a footnote in his own series. It's all about the pointless quest of a guy that's supposed to resolve his daddy issues and improve his self-esteem, and supposedly conjunct with his dysfunctional family, out of which the only one who truly deserved to have some connection with was his mother. Because again, his sister is an irreplaceable human being that I wish really was not just present. Sure, I agree on the fact that she still improves, but I would like to remind you, as we just witnessed, we still end on a police brutality joke, and one that's basically said, "Yes, mom, join in. We'll do this shit all day." Again, Wade's characterization improving in itself might be something that people can get attached to because the show tries its damn hardest to do it. But the fundamental problem is that it's not supposed to be what the series is about. This is supposed to be about Knuckles, and yet we know still so very little. The things that the character improves with are stuff that will be promptly at least forgotten by the next movie. Okay, TV Tropes tells me that he does use the Flame of Disaster in the third movie, but I have to be
He
honest,
does.
I don't remember exactly when, so it must have been just almost a blink and you miss moment. The Knuckles, again, it's still a footnote in a series talking about him. Again, for as bad as the Disney Plus series do get, they never really reach this level of ignoring title characters for their actual, the actual series that are supposed to be about, you know. Again, Netflix is a bit more guilty of this, admittedly, among other things, and I don't know much about Amazon Prime original content to know that if they also do that kind of thing. But still, it's really criminal. And again, the fact that this was nominated for Best Adaptation in the Game Awards, just no. This should have been about what Knuckles was doing before reaching Earth, expand his backstory, everything. And I know that the immediate question following up is how can we do that without having to spend too much budget, because the CG between CGI and casting Idris Elba, they will actually having to spend a lot of money. My point is, don't make it live action. Make it animated to begin with. Use a different style of animation that allows you to subcontract a company that could do it. Something similar to, say, Tim Miller's Blur Studio that does Love, Death, Robots, which managed to squeeze out very good CGI for relatively low budget for Netflix, and more recently for Amazon Prime with Secret Level, So that way you can get all the fantastical things that a good script for this series could demand, and still manage to stay in the budget. Again, this being on, I don't remember if it was exactly on launch or in the initial window, but this was still in the initial impression that people got from Paramount Plus when it comes to original content. I'm sorry, this is weak. Weak, absolutely weak. The other major good notes are the villains. When it comes to original series minor tier villains as substitution to Eggman, I did like the Rogue Agents and the Buyer, but I'm sorry, they're not in as much as one wanted, and they're dealt with relatively quickly. I kind of wish they were more, on a stalking thing. Again, having Jack being the bounty hunter in episode 4 was a good idea to incorporate from episode 1, but the Rogue Agent could have been the villain replacement from the bounty hunters in episode 3, for example, and they could have just, got away at the end for justifying their return. Again, a Team Rocket kind of situation. But again, this series is stemming too much in old cliches of typical sport movies and old as fuck tropes tied to these kind of stories about reconjunction with your father, the kind of second act breakup that leads to the misunderstanding almost. I'm glad that they subverted the whole Wade and, has to betray Knuckles' respect. That actually was a good one. And like I said, I'm glad that at least Knuckles is not the Deus Ex Machina that allows Wade to win. Wade manages to win fair and square. Again, it's not so much of a problem of Wade's characterization, but the fact that it's Wade's entire overexpanded presence into a series that's not supposed to be about him. It's not in the title. If Paramount want to be honest, they should have had that in the title. Hell, the Knuckles meme is right there for it. Literally call it Wade and Knuckles, and the fan probably would understand it better. Sure, it will still be the disappointment, but it would probably be better, Again, I'm not going to pretend that this didn't happen, especially because stuff is still referenced in Sonic 3. Even if I did not notice the final disaster, Wade does show up in Sonic 3, and this plot point is, properly kept going. Although, as you can imagine, it's not super important. You'll be able to see. But to say that I'm disappointed is an understatement. I'll take pretty much almost every single MCU Disney Plus series or stuff like the Star Wars animated anthology over this, for example, just one example. For all the duds and problems that a lot of these tend to have, at the very least I do still get some level of enjoyment out of those, but it's much more than I got out of this one. Of course, it's not helped by the fact that I usually tend to not be a Sonic fan to begin with, but I did care enough about the movies to actually hope to see them expanded. If Paramount tries to do this again, to have a series dedicated to another character, like say Tails, I don't think Shadow is probably getting his own spin-off movie, most likely, but again, possibly something like Tails. I hope to God that this is actually better than this, because this is not the way to go. I'm sorry. Jova.
Yeah, I'm gonna align more with Whips and Shiroi that I do feel like the hatred for the show definitely feels overhyped. That is not to say, though, that it is without its problems here. I will say this first and foremost, this series feels like what a lot of people feared that the first Sonic movie was going to be, like, basically a live-action series that can barely focus on the actual cartoon character, instead favor for a live-action one. Whereas the Sonic movie managed to actually balance things out between Sonic and Tom. Yeah, you can tell that they wanted to have the same look as the movies without putting as much money into the movies. Like, that is the series' biggest problem, is the lack of Knuckles. I will give them credit, though. I do feel like they managed to mask that problem for the most part, up until episodes 4 and 5. Now, I'll give episode 4 credit. It manages to still be entertaining and does distract you from the lack of Knuckles by at least adding in his father, Pachakamaka, overall. But then episode 5 comes, and yeah, that was the one where I realized, holy cow, he's just been gone, and he really is the secondary element here and there. Like, it turns into basically an excuse to this bowling thing, and while thankfully Knuckles does get the final hits in the last episode, it really does get on the nose here and there. Now, again, the reasons that I definitely do credit the Sonic movie series as being, like, the video game movie series for the time, at least the one that definitely helped break the curse over, say, the Super Mario Brothers movie, is like, those movies had their characters and actually worked with them through and through here and there. The Knuckles series, though, feels like it misses that priority. Okay, let's talk about Wade's family. The mother is fine. She's fine. She works as a good enough focal point and someone for Wade to look up to. His sister, on the other hand, oh boy. Yes, she gets better, but she starts well below the bottom. Like, she improves, but I can totally get why that one person who made that edit cut out every scene with her, because you really won't even miss much without her in the plot, really. The best I can say is, maybe she was really just that messed up by her father's leaving, or maybe she was part of the real reason the father left, because Jesus Christ, when she's at her worst, she's an insane FBI agent who will stab her own brother. Christ on a bicycle. Like, even if I don't think that the jokes are meant to be about how the FBI can be this or that, ignoring some controversies and whatnot, Jesus Christ, is that not the best look? So yeah, that said, I agree with Tio that the villains are for the most part relatively well handled. I'm not too sure about how the gun agents were handled, seeing as how they are the ones who set up the whole bounty hunter plot thing, so I do feel like their influence is there. I do wonder if we could have done more with them. Like, okay, it's a typical sort of MCU-ish cliffhanger thing about, like, if somebody really wants to bring them back, they'll probably say that, oh, they were stuck in some temporal loop but let out. If no one else wants them back, they did. In fact, yeah, the Knuckles series is pretty effective at taking out a lot of villains, because, like, Knuckles kills no less than 3 people in one night. Those 2 guys with the ring, and then the buyer with the globe. In spite of the buyer not having a name, I do dig how they carried him out. I do also agree with Tio, though, that I feel like he could have used some more presence. I get he's supposed to be the big final boss threat looming in the distance and background, but he kind of just leaves the show for a bit to come back and be menacing. Thankfully, the fight scenes, especially the ones that involve Knuckles, are good, and I will give it credit. Wade was never really completely stupid from the get-go. He was silly and a goof, but again, let's not forget, this was the guy competent enough to think, oh, wait, Robotnik's canopy is open? I should just try and shoot at him, which, yeah, was pretty effective, essentially. So, no, I'll give credit to Wade. He's fine enough without it feeling like the show is trying to big him up more than he ever was. Like, he's a goofball, but he's a competent enough goofball who can get some stuff done within his own limitations. One thing that I definitely love overall is the music, between the composing, but more so the song track list, because holy cow, someone had very good taste here. Mind you, it would be cool if we could get actual game music in there, but I guess that just wasn't on the budget here and there for that. Like, even Sonic 2 had some game music in it. This one, if it did, I can't recall. Thankfully, Sonic 3 will have a few things to say about that. Okay, speaking of Sonic 3, part of me does wonder if, while obviously the main reason of the series was to get people into Paramount Plus and whatnot, it does feel like in some cases Sonic 3 was definitely something to help keep the momentum going for the Sonic 3 movie, which also came out the same year, interestingly enough. And that bit about 1974, yes, that line got a lot of people talking, because 1974 just happens to be 50 years ago from 2024, which was the year that the series came out. Yeah. Maria might have actually taken Shadow to a bowling match, interestingly enough. Overall, I did not have a bad time with this series. Dare I say, there were times where I enjoyed it. That being said, this is not a series I would go out of my way to purchase Paramount Plus for. It's fine, but it's nothing amazing. You can pretty much just go from Sonic 2 to Sonic 3 without having seen it, and basically infer on what happened based off of stuff mentioned in Sonic 3. But yeah, you're not missing out on anything by not watching this, and again, while I didn't hate it and kinda was fine with it, if not liking it, I do get most of the complaints. I will say people raging about it like it was the worst thing ever, that was overdoing it. But people who were disappointed in it for not focusing on Knuckles, I absolutely do get. And in spite of the fact that reception for this show seems to be mostly positive, I do hope that they take into mind the critiques that were given in this regard here and there. Except for that one critical review that was more so criticizing the lack of Jim Carrey, which is like, dudes, no, we don't always need to focus on the celebrity stuff here and there.
If anything, like I said, it would be again similar to what the comics did. Just try to create proper rogues gallery or minor villain. It's all about mostly how creative can you be. Sure, because of the setting, you're still limited, so you cannot have weird shit like what was his name, August, the wizard guy from Set AM, for example.
Nagus.
Knuckles, there you go. Or the Iron Queen that you told me about her. But
one missed opportunity was not including Rouge. That was a big speculation a lot of people had, was that Rouge would actually show up in this series as a precursor for Sonic 3, which was obviously going to be Sonic Adventure 2 based, essentially. And the fact that Rouge could serve as a rival and antagonist to Knuckles. This again ties to the revelation revealed by the studios themselves that Rouge has technically been cut from all three of the Sonic films, so she has been the Sonic character most blue-balled from appearing throughout this film series. How about that?
It still begs the question of who will get to voice her, but that's not this discussion for now.
That being said, yeah, the Knuckles series, it was fine, I feel. It wasn't amazing. I honestly do feel like, though, it would have worked best as a movie with stuff pushed together as opposed to stretched out like it was. But it is what it is. For what it was at the time, it was enough of a hit that it kept the Sonic momentum going for merchandise reception and, of course, hype for Sonic 3. Which brings me to the last surprise. Ladies and gentlemen, we will not actually be ending this anniversary celebration with the Knuckles series. Instead, welcome to the actual celebration that is Knuckles and Sonic 3! Which feels awfully reversed now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Tune in tomorrow for Sonic 3, the movie.
Yeah.
See ya.
Ta-ta.